the straw pledge as one of their challenges for all of the restaurants in North Park, and many of which attempted and adopted for that week. It's definitely something that we can improve upon with special events and with specialty weeks. Yeah.
You may not have it, but how many straws are sold? Do you have a number?
It's estimated that in the United States we use 500 million a day. So if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. There's 350 million of us. If you go out to a restaurant, you're usually getting 3, right? In your water, your refill, and your soda. So you're just about running 1 a day.
Is there, sorry.
Yeah.
Kind of follow, the reason I was asking is, Cisco and a major restaurant, supply companies, obviously in their big scope of what they sell, that's a small piece.
Right.
Is there a way to kind of shame them into participating in this?
Well, I'm sure there is. We're trying to always take the positive approach. We don't want to use judgment or accusation. Yeah.
Across the table, you shame.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Did you research the history of the straw? When did we start using straws, and why do we use straws? My wife always wants a straw, but I never do, and I just don't get it. I don't want to get into it with her, but it might bring up other things, I don't know.
Yeah, we live in a disposable society. We've become accustomed to simplicity and doing things the easy way, even at the cost of what we throw away. We've been using straws for a while. It's definitely increased, but I'm not really sure.
Okay, and is your next step going to be, I hope you take on plastic water bottles?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're also working within college campuses to try to implement plastic water bans. It's a easily accessible market. You have your college student population who is fairly progressive and interested in conservation.
How do I know if, someone hands me a straw and I don't open it and put it in my drink that it's not just getting thrown away?
Yeah, it might or might not. You can ask the server to
Okay.
put it back. You can leave it on the table. There's really no way to know. What you're really going to try to do is say no straw, please, from the onset.
Okay.
Servers do it by nature, so it might just come every once in a while. But
Okay.
the more they hear it as well, as more people adopt the practice of saying no straw, please, they'll get used to not doing it every time as well.
Okay.
Just following up on the history of the straw.
Yeah.
I know dentists sometimes say to use straws so that, this sugary, whatever you do, sugary
Right.
drink
Right.
doesn't get your teeth.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be drinking sugary drinks. That
Well,
might be something.
I agree with that too. There's another cause.
Yeah. Yeah.
A couple things. One is, as my son is a high school student, senior, most high school they have the ecology club.
Mhm.
So most social movement start from the younger generation. So
Yeah.
that might be something you want to take a look, get into these kind of clubs in the high school. They start from the beginning, the roots to bring it up. It's going to
Sure.
take a long time. The second thing is just wondering how you guys measure you do a lot of activity. How you measure what activity is giving you the most for what you're spending your money, how you tracking, how those kind of things that is really, at some point you want to sit down and see if you're spending a lot of time in here, do we get the result, or
Right.
we want to change direction or do something else?
Sure. Well, as per your first comment, education is our benchmark. It's affecting the youth is always going to be our main focus as an organization. In terms of your second inquiry, in the nonprofit sector, it's pretty different. Return on investment is not exactly the same as you would see in for-profit, but we're definitely looking to maximize our efficiency, especially as a startup organization and a new group with limited staff. So we're looking to develop programs that do have some sort of a interactivity component, right? Even if there may not be a concrete takeaway, at least someone sees some sort of participation on the restaurant menu, or you, with the away bag, you get to experience a week of carrying your trash with you. So we're trying to create moments that actually make an impact on the emotional level.
How many schools do you have participating in your away bag program?
So that's just been launched. We're currently actually waiting for the manufacturers, since we're not buying from China and it's a lot more expensive and time consuming to have them made locally. We're waiting for that to be manufactured. It should be any week now. So we've just put out initial feelers to educators that we've worked with in the past. We've reached 5,000 students over the last year and a half with also different engaging and interactive educational programs. So the 5 teachers that we've reached out to have all wanted us to come in, and we're going to run them on trial bases until we get all our bags in. Yeah.
What's the revenue model for the organization?
Sure. So I'm not sure if you guys are too familiar with nonprofit, but you're pretty much broken down into grants, corporate contributions, and private donations. That's what we target as well. As a new nonprofit, grants is pretty difficult because they want to see 3 years of audited financials. So we're more so right now looking for local San Diego-based industry that wants to tie themselves with supporting community health and positive feed help support our program.
This is a question and not the thing. Have you considered hooking up with science teachers, for instance, around the country and have the kids not only collect the straws, but collect them from over certain time periods and then measure the reduction or increase, but then have the kids go to the bar owners, a couple kids go to the bar owner and suggesting that, that there needs to be a little social change here. And I think, rather than an adult coming and talking to a bar owner, you'd probably be a lot more effective having two teenage kids saying, look, we projected you alone in this institution are putting in this much, and what they can do is come back with a positive report, and the bar can use that in their PR, that we're part of this program and we're reducing and we're working with the kids.
Yeah, we've done something similar. We always want to have a follow-up call to action throughout any of our educational programs, and a lot of which has been in the form of letter writing. We're not necessarily encouraging students to go into bars, but we do want them to write letters to anyone possible and say, hey, I care about conservation, I care about my community. Here are a few ways in which you can make positive change, and something that we'll look to follow on.
You have 501c3 status. How hard was that to get? Very hard.
Yeah.
And so if you could do it again, would you go the same route, or would you go for profit and then do a significant donation?
Yeah, so we don't necessarily have a product that we provide. You could definitely tie a price on the curriculum that we develop and try to go into the schools on the for-profit model and say our class costs X amount, our services cost X amount. What we prefer to do is provide those services at no cost to our schools, especially given our current budgetary issues, and try to find individuals like Commerce that support the programs that we've developed and want to see those made possible. And for that end, the 501c3 model is definitely the most effective.
Are there other groups that are doing similar projects?
Yeah, she mentioned Milo Kress on the East Coast, a little kid. He's just really obsessed with diverting straw waste, which is phenomenal. There isn't really anyone that's ever done anything like the Away Project. That's a creative campaign that we've developed, and not too many people thinking about positive ways to encourage waste diversion on a business scale.
Did you get Milo to be your spokesperson?
Yeah, we definitely, we've interacted with him, and he's got his own campaign, which is great. And, we're all about collaboration. Yeah.
Have you thought about creating your own straw? I'm a straw lover.
Yeah.
Sorry. But have you thought about creating your own glass straws or bamboo straws to sell as another revenue generating model, so you're not always looking for grants and
Sure.
in addition to what you're doing?
It's not anything we've ever put much thought into. We have done stuff like sell our bags. We've made tote bags and wallets and a few other things out of waste vinyl. But it's definitely something that we can look into. We don't want to, from the nonprofit end, take business away from existing for-profit entities. The IRS actually sets up a designation so that you're not really able to do that. It could be done, but it's not something that we put too much thought into.
This Chinese chopsticks and so that's out of bamboo, so they having a huge problem with it. So if you make straws for something that is even worse than plastic and not recycle or not reuse it, cannot create another problem.
Yeah, so the straw campaign was set to serve as an example. What we wanted to do was give restaurants an opportunity to participate and take that first step. It's definitely not, we're not a straw organization, and we don't think that diverting straws is going to necessarily save the world, but it's an introduction into conservation, and it could be replicated with bamboo chopstick, it could be replicated with water. San Diego actually has an ordinance that restaurants aren't supposed to bring you water unless you ask for it, but how many times do you guys go out and just receive the water without asking for it? So what we're trying to do is build that social awareness and try to get the adoption coming in from the consumer end, but also on the restaurant overhead. But it can be done with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you come to this mission?
Well, I'm from San Diego. I love this city. Anyone I've ever met, actually. And I just want to see it be a healthy city. We work to create the cleanest, greenest, healthiest, and most vibrant community possible. That's our mission as an organization. And we feel that that needs to be adopted both on the consumer end, on the community end, at the business end, and then also met in the middle. And that's where we try to develop programming areas.
Your advisory board, what skill sets are you looking for in that?
So anything that goes back to the needs, anyone that has connections within the hospitality industry, anyone that's part of media or development in financial services, we're receptive to anyone. We want to be a voice for the community, for those that care about community and conservation and health, and want to see an kind of some of their ideas flourish within that model. Yeah.
Let's, one final question is, what as a community can we do to help support you and help you become a sustainable nonprofit?
Sure. So one of the main areas in which we're trying to differentiate ourselves is having a huge social reach. There's a lot of people that just inherently won't necessarily follow a conservation-based group because they don't want to label themselves as environmentalists, whereas we, as I said, see ourselves as a community health group. So helping push out that message, anything through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, sharing what we're doing and getting your friends on board, talking about the accessibility of living a little more sustainably, saying something like, I stopped using straws and it wasn't that hard. Or in Stephanie's case, I bought a reusable straw and it wasn't that hard. Stuff like that, I think is a really gentle introduction to conservation for individuals who otherwise might not be a part of the community.
Awesome.
I'm Jody Green, Chic CEO, part of this committee as well. And we have kind of a special occasion today because we have the ladies from Dream Big America here. So I wanted to invite Sarah or Beth, whoever wants to come up and just tell us real quick about Dream Big America while we get ready for Michelle, our next presenter. So,
sure.
come on, this is Beth.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. And Sarah, my counterpart, is over here. Dream Big America is the first ever radio show that is national across the country. It reaches 485 markets around the United States, and it has 3.5 million listeners per week. And it's hosted on the Doug Stephan Good Day Show. Doug Stephan has been around for about 23 years, and I think he's a really incredible guy that is focused on helping entrepreneurs. So we put together this show to give a voice to entrepreneurs and a vote to America. So the way that it works is you go through your 1 million cups. Do you call them organizers here? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you go through your 1 million cups organizers, and they recommend you, once you present here at 1 million cups, you will automatically be entered to participate in Dream Big America. And then we have three people that present every single week live on the radio. And there's a winner immediately after the show. The voting opens up. There's one winner, and then we have 3 new contestants each week. At the end of the month, you'll have a monthly winner that is able to win a prize package, excuse me, of up to $20,000 in cash and resources. Wow. So the whole event is meant to be an opportunity for entrepreneurs to tell their story to a national audience. And it's really meant to give them an opportunity to get consumer validation. It's free to the entrepreneurs, which is really wonderful because it doesn't cost anything to get on the show, and it gets you awareness and exposure. Sarah, is there anything else that I might be missing about the show?
I don't think so. 1 Million Cups is one of our best partners. The last 2 monthly winners, this is our 3rd month, the last 2 monthly winners have been from 1 Million Cups organizations. So we've seen there's an amazing amount of support and network and community around these 1 Million Cups cities, and we're seeing kind of a correlation between the amount of support that they have locally and then their success on the show, which is cool to see.
We do have a wild card winner, so if people want to go on the website and enter, they can, but mostly the way that people get on the show are through our partner organizations, and that is 1 Million Cups, another organization based in San Diego called Nutrition Capital Network. And then we are getting ready to announce a partnership with Chic CEO. So really it's our partners that provide the entrepreneurs on the show that are vetted. So by the time they get onto the show, it's really, really amazing entrepreneurs that have a product, a service that they can talk to America about. So we're really excited. It's the first of its kind. And we hope that the show will give an opportunity for entrepreneurs to tell their story and to get people interested and hopefully get revenue in the door if that's the model, and buy products. But we're really happy to be here today. This is our first, other than Kansas City, this is our first city that we've been able to visit. And we plan to make other stops across the country. But I think it's really amazing what you guys are doing here. And I think you'll just continue to see it grow every single week.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys will all definitely listen in to Dream Big America.
And there's brochures over here if you'd like to learn more information about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
One thing that this is meant to bring together is the community. So Aileen has a community announcement, and we're totally open to community announcements that have to do with the sphere of startups and entrepreneurship and helping the community grow as a whole. So just one more quick announcement. Thank you.
So this is the Startup Weekend Next program. Is a 5-week program for you to validate a business, validate an idea with customers using the Lean Startup concepts. And it starts this Saturday. There's doing 5 Saturdays. And we do a lot of innovation games. We are partners with the Google for Entrepreneurs. We're partners with EvoNext, which is the Startup Leadership Program, Founder Institute, Techstars, Steve Blank, and many others partners. So please talk with me. We're going to
Hi, I'm Siobhan Lindley, one of the organizers as well for San Diego. And I'm excited to announce our next guest, who I interviewed a couple years ago on my radio show, where I interview CEOs and I get to tell their story on air on ESPN every week. Definitely don't have 3.5 million listeners, but it's local, it's cool. Hopefully some of you may listen sometime.
It's real.
But I had an opportunity to interview Michelle, and if any of you like to eat healthy, but struggle to find time, like